Amsterdam, capital of the Netherlands, city of canals and spring flowers, a big port for ocean shipping and for Rhine River shipping. A city with a long history of trading with the four corners of the earth, and with a long reputation as the greatest center of the world's diamond industry. Here, the skilled craftsmen of Holland have cut and polished many of the world's most magnificent stones. Stones to grace the throat of a princess or the turban of a Maharaja. Today, the diamond workers carry on their jobs under model conditions. But 50 years ago, things were very different from the way they are now. In those days, the workers had to pay rent to the factory owners for a place to work in and the steam power to run their machines. 50 years ago, the factories had no heating in winter and no ventilation. The men and women in the shops operated their cutting tools and polishing wheels by the light of flickering gas lamps. In those conditions, tuberculosis raged among the diamond workers. And for the men who contracted the disease, there was very little chance of care or cure. This is the story of how the fight against TB was led by a union man. A man who had seen his parents, his wife, and 8 brothers and sisters die of tuberculosis. This man, Jan van Zutphen, who is still alive and active at the age of 89. Soon after the turn of the century, he became secretary of the Diamond Workers' Union and started a workers' TB fund, collecting from the workers themselves and from the factory owners. He raised more money than the government itself was then allotting to fight TB in the whole of Holland. But it was not enough to help all the diamond workers who needed help. Van Zutphen went around the factory benches, looking for a way of getting more money for his fund. And as he watched a polisher at work, he had an idea. He knew the only thing that could be used for polishing diamonds was actual diamond dust, an expensive commodity since it had to be obtained by crushing small and low-quality diamonds. He wondered what happened to all the diamond dust that was mixed with oil and applied to the polishing discs, and also what happened to the part of the diamond itself that was ground away in the polishing. According to the general theory, since diamonds were a form of carbon, the dust was burnt up and consumed. But Van Zutphen was not at all convinced of this. Perhaps the dust was not destroyed. Perhaps there was great wealth still contained in the black grease thrown off by the polishing wheels, and perhaps it could be reclaimed. Van Zutphen persuaded his union to use its funds for research. The first experiments were a complete failure. The scheme was attacked as a waste of the union's money. He had to fight through years of disappointment and opposition. But at last he found a professor at Delft University who succeeded in re-extracting 100% diamond dust. The union had led the way, and the employers agreed that the black grease caught in the guards around the polishing wheels should be the property of the workers' TB fund. And since that day, the workers scrape away every morsel of the precious grease, put it in a tin or a jam jar, and send it off to the TB fund laboratory. At the laboratory, when the diamond dust has been extracted from the grease, it is weighed out in 1-carat packages and resold to the factory owners for about 25 shillings a package. The first year's proceeds from the diamond dust amounted to £25,000. The money was used to buy a site for a TB sanatorium out in the woods at Hilversum. and other trade unions throughout Holland joined forces with the diamond workers and contributed their share towards building a hospital which cares not only for diamond workers, but for tuberculous workers from every kind of trade and industry. A hospital which is as modern and well-equipped as any in the world. Nowadays, the hospital no longer has to look after the victims of bad working conditions. And modern methods of treating the disease have helped to make a big reduction in the number of people who need the expert care of a specialist. Still, TB is far from being stamped out. The hunger and hardships of life in wartime Holland have left many workers a prey to the disease. But so long as TB exists, the workers know that the Union Sanatorium will give them the best possible chance of cure. The sanatorium is called Zonnestraal, ray of sunshine. And here on the terraces, the patients get all the good food and the rest and the fresh air that they need in order to make a full recovery. In the hospital grounds, there are light and airy workshops where men returning to health can learn again, little by little, the skills they will need for going back to normal life and work. And the men who used to be in heavy jobs are taught new trades, light work, so that they can be placed in jobs that won't overtax their strength. In one of the shops at Zonnestraal, convalescent workers specialize in making tools for diamond cutting and supply equipment to the whole of the Dutch diamond industry. Zonnestraal is always growing. New workshops, new facilities are added each year, paid for with the proceeds from the diamond dust and with money contributed by the other unions that followed the lead of the diamond workers. And the lead has been followed in another way too, by diamond workers' unions in Belgium, France, and the United States, which have adopted the methods that the Dutch discovered of re-extracting the diamond dust from the grease of the polishing wheels and using the proceeds for the welfare of the workers. Jan van Zutphen has had a privilege granted to few men. He has lived to see his work gain international recognition as an example of what a union can do to help its members. But his special place of honor is always at Zonnestraal, as the man who made this sanatorium possible.